Hello, everyone, and welcome to our AIS platform. Just to share with you another subject. Today, I'm going to talk about one very important component which directly relate with those who want to learn Ayurveda and also those who seek help through Ayurveda as a last hope for their physical, mental, and emotional problem. Because we all know that Ayurveda slowly now gaining that position in this part of the world, in Australasia, where public has realized now that this is the science which can give them some hope. This is the science that can empower them how they can play a role in their well-being. And then they try to look for what kind of practitioners we can go and get help for their whatever level of the problems are. And on the other side, as Ayurveda is growing among the public who are keen to seek some solution for their problem, there is also the curiosity and the popularity of Ayurvedic learning and Ayurvedic courses has also become quite big. I will say big means because we all know Ayurveda is a part of the complementary medicine in this part of the world, and we are not the mainstream of medicine, and hence whoever want to take a career path, whether they want to learn Chinese medicine or Western herbalism or naturopathic approach, and then now Ayurvedic medicine has become one of their choice to pick up, that what I should pick up so that I can play a part in well-being of people who are seeking help out of this square of mainstream medicine. As we always have talked about, that Western medicine has its own role. No question about that. No one can question that Western medicine ever will be faded out. We should not even think of. But we all know, and then those who are suffering, they know much more, that Western medicine has so many gaps. Whatever problem we talk about, simple hay fever to cancer, whether it is breast cancer, whether it is other kind of cancer, colon cancer or whatever, or then nowadays autoimmune disorders, they all have realized that when they go with our Western medicine approach, there is not much they can find the answer apart from that you have to live with it and wait for the deterioration to happen. But when it comes to the surgery emergencies, there is no question. Western medicine has so much, based on the technology, right? They play a role. So in all these respect, people look for some options. And when they look at Ayurveda, they get a bit confused, because when we talk about these complementary medicine, as they are all self-regulatory and not having much more stream platform or stream structure of learning, because we all know if you are in a medical school, because that is how we should compare, if we always talk about that we are also playing the same role, then we need to look at that modality which is more structured and supported by our mainstream governments and like that. So if you want to study medicine, now in Australia we have more than 10 or 11 medical school. No matter wherever you get the admission, you will be taught same level of components in the same in depth, so that when you come out of the medical school, you are all have the same level of study and the experience and the knowledge. But when we talk about complementary medicine, that is where biggest gap comes up. But I'm not going to talk about other modalities. What I have heard, and many prospective students always try to know, that the qualifications which we are talking about in Ayurveda, because there are two qualifications. One is known as HLT 52615, and then the other one is for the advanced diploma. This qualification is known as Ayurvedic Lifestyle Consultant qualification. And then there are qualifications which we talk about as a Ayurvedic doctor, where you have to study for 6 year university studies, and then you have to do the same level of internships and other things. Those are the different part. But the two qualifications which are approved in Australia and people can practice by acquiring those qualifications, people always question that the qualifications what we talk about Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant, is it something allow them to practice Ayurveda, and do they learn sufficient so they can confidently go out and help people who are desperately looking for Ayurvedic approach for their well-being? And many prospective students and inquiries always have this big question, that whenever we speak to someone, and especially those who are involved in either in Ayurveda or in other modality, they always try to tell them that as a lifestyle consultant, you cannot practice independently. You have to always work under someone as an Ayurvedic therapist, or you have to just become an Ayurvedic massage therapist or so. It's very sad part, because one need to understand very clearly that when we talk about Ayurveda, this Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant qualification is the backbone of whole Ayurveda. No matter whether you are an advanced diploma holder or you have done qualifications in the degree colleges, question is, have you learned something related with Ayurveda, what we call as complete understanding of Ayurveda, complete approach of Ayurveda that is what public is seeking? And if the answer has to come, answer is yes. But then the biggest question mark comes up, that why then we don't learn all this, what you are talking about. If you'll go with the qualification, there are 5 units, what we call them, core Ayurvedic units, and then we have common units. Now, in this core Ayurvedic unit, that is where the issue comes up. If someone is learning this qualification effectively and are serious from the very first moment that I want to learn Ayurveda only so that I can help people. No one is coming to that qualification where they feel that I want to just in a shortcut sort of approach so that I can go out and try to pretend or try to be an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant. That is where your confidence will always get compromised down the track. Initially, we are feeling very enthusiastic, very much, and when we get into practice and see what people's sufferings are and not able to understand in a big way, that is where whatever we advise to our client, when it is not really giving us that desired result, it does not help anyone, neither the practitioner, neither the one who is seeking help. So when we talk about these units, say 001, we talk about which relate with that how to develop and how to plan your practice. So in that, you have to learn whole Ayurvedic knowledge, which we talk about in simple term, Ayurvedic anatomy, physiology, that part is component. And in that aspect, when we talk about, say, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, because that is how everyone relate Ayurveda with Vata, Pitta, Kapha, then that Vata, Pitta, Kapha can be summed up in a 1 hour, can be summed up in a 1 day, and can take your whole life to understand Vata, Pitta, Kapha. But still, in that course, one must understand that what are these three: intelligence, biological humors we are talking about, how they work, where they can find in the body. When we talk about Vata is responsible for this particular function, Pitta is responsible for this particular function, how we can relate that, how we can relate with our Western understanding. Because this is very crucial. You cannot just say that yes, Vata is related for all the movement, Pitta is related with all the metabolism. That is not Ayurveda work. In the same way, when you will go further to understand what is your dhatus. Now in dhatus, just to understand that these are the 7 dhatus, and that's it is. But what correlation that have is in our Western medicine, how these tissues can get affected, what factor make them get affected, what happen when they get affected, how we can recognize them, what are the factors of lifestyle, diet, environmental, mental factors impact them. One has to go to that in-depth understanding, and then that understanding need to be applied, because learning something, reading in the books, and then thinking that I have completed is not going to work, because at the end of the day you have to apply that knowledge for your client. And now if you have not grasped and absorbed that information and that learning, you will always have chance to get affected down the track. And that is what we always talk about that you can't complete these kind of learnings with 3 months or 6 months, and that's where some students get trapped that okay, I can acquire this qualification in 3 months, so must be the same learning what we can do maybe more in either 2 years or 18 months or that kind of levels. Same is then further understanding on the channels, what we call as shrotas. Then it comes up to your Agni understanding. Then it comes to your psychology understanding. Then you come to the understanding of the non-physical Ayurvedic aspect. Then when we talk about 005, you have to understand Ayurvedic nutrition. Ayurvedic nutrition again need to be understand from all respect, that how to structure diet planning and how to understand what is compatible, what is incompatible, with whom you are trying to look at compatible or incompatible. Now many people talk about, I'm just giving you one example, that okay, we are in winter, so it means pumpkin, kumra, potatoes are bad for kapha type people. That is how they read Ayurveda, and that's how they have learned Ayurveda from the books. But no one able to investigate, and no one able to understand that when we talk about the Agni, we all know Agni, that metabolic intelligence, is more stronger in the winter. So winter has the ability to break down heavy food also. So then that food, how much that can be used by a kapha person, how much that can be used by a pitta person, vata person, and then if some pathologies are there, what will happen to those kind of food? That understanding is something only can come when you are learning Ayurveda from those people who have spent their whole life and have learnt Ayurveda at a university's level, having a good experience at least 15-20 years in clinical practice, because these are all courses of a practical application. Same way, then come up with the various treatments. Now in Ayurveda, we have specific bodywork treatment. Whether we talk about Ayurvedic massage, Ayurvedic marma massage. Now, again, many time I see people, I see students, I see those who have even qualified from the university's level. When we talk about marma and ask them where the marma is, they will stutter because they don't understand how to recognize marma in the body, how to work on them. There are various ways, specific ways to learn those part and understand. Just putting a marker on the body that is where your this marma will be and that is where your that marma will be is not going to give you that learning. So these are the ways to understand that learning in a qualification, what we call as Ayurvedic Lifestyle Consultant qualification, is very, very important qualification because that is the base of your whole Ayurveda. But then, if you have learned in an effective way, you can confidently start your practice as an individual practitioner. You don't need to just think that I have to work under someone my whole life. Okay, it is acceptable that you want to gain some confidence because no matter whether you have learned in depth or whether you have learned just on a superficial basis, initially confidence will be always in a bit less, so people will have many reason not to start their own practice. That is where they will feel that I can go and practice with someone. Practicing with someone is never bad because this is what we call as internship, working under a practitioner. But then the problem is if that practitioner themselves have no knowledge or no confidence on what Ayurvedic learning is all about, Because when I say Ayurvedic learning, all about is the courses and the Ayurveda, what is being taught in the Western world is much different what Ayurveda talk about in many universities. Because here Ayurveda is talked about as a much more holistic approach. Ayurveda is being taught, yes, physical component, but at the same time, equally non-physical aspect for which Ayurveda is known as. Metaphysics is the biggest strength of Ayurveda. And if that is not incorporated in our practice, Ayurveda is not complete. Then there is no difference between Ayurveda and any other modality. Non-physical aspect of Ayurveda is what make it unique. So if that knowledge is not gained by someone, no matter from where they come from, you will have difficulty to apply that for your client. In the same way, when we talk about the other body work treatment, whether it is your Shirodhara treatment, whether it is your Katibasti treatment, now we all know in our this part of the world, physiotherapist, chiropractor, osteopath, these are the modalities known for when we have any issues related with the musculoskeletal problem. So now, yes, one component is the biggest hindrance, that when we go for our problem, these modalities are supported by government and people somehow able to get some assistance from the government funding or so. But when they come to an Ayurvedic consultant for these treatment, they have to pay from their own pocket. But this question is for all of people who are associated with Ayurveda. They have to come together and then make a representation to the government in a right way, keeping their own egos and limitations aside and working for Ayurveda only. That yes, we should also get Ayurveda recognized for all who are practicing Ayurveda at these qualifications, so that the public can have a more easy access. But then saying so, before you make yourself available to do these treatment, you need to ask yourself, am I confident in these treatment? Have I learned them in an effective way? And that is what you have to see, practical clinical cases, what you are doing to assess them. That if I able to get more serious cases for my practice, which we call as your supervised clinical training as a part of your these qualifications, which then can be discussed in the classes under your teacher, that what are the outcome for that client. And if that client get better, you will get the confidence that yes, when I will have same sort of client with the same sort of problem or more worse, I can help them, and I can help them better than the other. And that is the reason you learn that why Ayurvedic musculoskeletal treatments are more effective than the other treatments available out in the world. Same is come up with the Shirodhara treatment. Now Shirodhara treatment is today's the most sought after treatment for mental health. And the reason is mental health is the one which is growing at such a fast pace. In spite of all the effort from the government, mental health is keep increasing. And that is where the Ayurvedic approach comes up much more better. But if you have not learned, and this learning will only come when you are learning Ayurvedic qualification in a correct way. Correct way means you have to have your teacher who give you that in-depth understanding. And in-depth understanding only come if that person has practically seen such cases and understand the pathologies at a much more deeper level. Someone who himself or herself is an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant or maximum to an advanced diploma, just think how they can teach you to make you a confident Ayurvedic practitioner. I have no issue against anyone, but then that is a reality. Have you ever given a thought that in a medical school, someone who just graduated and become an MBBS, he or she is going to come and start teaching that way? No way. Same is with the engineering. Same is with the law qualification. So if all qualification in the world requires someone within a specific higher qualifications and specific experience, how come we let Ayurveda to be taught by someone and with the exceptions? It is only playing with the life of our community who is seeking Ayurveda and then playing the life of those who want to learn Ayurveda so enthusiastically. Then when they will not able to have that confidence, they will never be able to get further, and that's the reason they will think that okay, I can just be an Ayurvedic massage therapist or so. So that's not what this qualification is. This Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant qualification, as I said before, and again I'm reinforcing, is one of the most sounded qualification for Ayurveda. Anyway, wherever you want to go, but we are talking about Australia and New Zealand, and that is the base of the qualification. Because tomorrow when you have a qualification as an advanced diploma, your knowledge, the major component of knowledge is what you have learned in as a Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant qualification because of the all 5 unit. But in those 5 unit, whatever we talk about, we don't need to just read and tick them that okay, I learned about mind, I learned about 5 senses, I learned about dharma, artha, kama, moksha. But then have you learned them to that level that can give you the understanding that how it will play a role in the well-being, and how that can play a role in the well-being unless you have applied that in your life? And how we apply that in our life is something only practically will come up. Same way is then understanding all the antakarnas and all the other components in the psychology and how the Ayurvedic counseling work. These are the various components. And now if you will ever sit and think that does this qualification can be learned in 6 months or 9 months? Even if you thinking of 18 months, 18 months is part of your learning. And learning means day and night learning comes up. Even in the courses we always talk about that you have to give minimum 18 to 20 hours of weekly learning, but that is a basic requirement. But to absorb this whole learning and take it to the deeper level and get confident, you required more and more constant effort. Ayurveda is not just a new modality that it is coming up and we can learn it in a much more relaxed way. Playing with the life of someone is not that easy. Someone is coming to your clinic and giving you the ability to work with them for their well-being is not a small act. That person is giving you so much confidence in you, putting so much confidence. And if I play with his confidence or her confidence, do you think we can get away with that? Those who think I can get away, best of luck to them. Because this is what Ayurveda teaches from the very first day. Whatever our karmas are, whatever our actions are, we have to pay for that. And if we learn it as a one line in our psychology and then close that, that is okay. And that is the same thing you learn in yoga. And that is what we talk about. That if you think that learning yoga, just the asanas, and I can then make it and a living out of it, yes, good on you. But Ayurveda has nothing, means yoga has nothing to do with just asanas. And that's what we all the time talk about. That is why we see people out in the market with the weekend courses of yoga and 1 month courses, and then they become the teacher of teaching yoga courses on this and that way. And that's only because these all modalities are not regulated. And if they can be regulated qualifications, one can understand that how it can be more structured for public as well as for modality. Now, again, to just give more clear message to all who want to learn Ayurveda and are seeking for Ayurvedic Lifestyle Consultant qualification, I can give you my total assurance that this qualification give you the ability to practice Ayurveda confidently, because you will learn in this qualification everything, whether how to structure an Ayurvedic case, how to structure an Ayurvedic advice, how to do your threefold examination, eightfold examination, tenfold examination, how you can learn pulse examination at your level, then your tongue examination, your urine, stool, face examination, eye examination, you name it, everything you have to learn. And even if you put all these things in a one sort of line, or even what I will say, that if you read all those units which has been part of the qualification, even if you give say one hour, all the lines there are, count them, how many hours it will be just to discuss only 1 hour on a one subject. You can then understand that how in depth learning for this course one has to go through. So coming back, that anyone who feel hesitant, that I have been told by different people that this qualification will never allow you to practice Ayurveda, that is not the case. You are the backbone, you are the base of Ayurvedic learning and Ayurvedic practice. Without doing this qualification, you cannot practice. And you can practice Ayurveda from this level as an independent. You might would like to work for someone for a few months to learn something or experience, or there can be some reason that you financially not feeling confident to straight away start. That can be the one part, but it does not mean that you cannot start the practice. You can start Ayurvedic practice with an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant. You can give them the advice on the food, the diet, lifestyle, regime, and then you can give them Ayurvedic herbs for whatever support they need for their problem. So feel confident, but to get that confidence, you need the in-depth learning. But with the in-depth learning, one another element comes up, which I would like to share with you, because there is so much to learn, so much to grasp, so much to retain. And I appreciate and I agree that each one of you are not 17-year-old who is only focusing on his or her career path. You have your own life, you have your own family, children, but you are passionate, you are committed, you are keen to get into this practice. You might be a practitioner of any other modalities, whether you are a naturopath or a medical doctor or a yoga practitioner or nurses who are now keen to learn Ayurveda, because again, this is another aspect comes up. Anyone who is a bit conscious and have that passion for helping people who are suffering, they somehow know deep down in their inside that the science which can help public and the science who have the answer for the problems of our public is Ayurveda. So they want to incorporate Ayurveda in their existing practice. So in that respect, what happened? While you might have done the qualification, but sometimes you feel a little bit hesitant to straight away start. But then if you leave it for too long, then your confidence start further eroding. That can be another issue, and then you never able to get into practice. And that is where I always have mentioned in our courses at AIS that look, when you will complete this qualification, and after that you have completed all your assignment work and all the clinical cases and all the treatment, I will say that you should start practicing, even if you start practicing for 2 days or so, but at least that will give you a lot of confidence. But sometime, due to various issues and restriction, many of our graduate who have so much in-depth learning through the courses what we teach them at AIS with the lifestyle consultant qualification I'm talking, they still feel that they are lacking full understanding or not feel confident or because they have left it too long. So for all of them, I would like to announce from this platform that we have come up in another way of reinforcing their and refreshing their knowledge, and have made now for in March 24 one option available to them, that those who feel that they are needing a bit more refreshing aspect in all the practical component, what we call as our intensive weekend in Brisbane, they can come and attend them. Or those who feel they would like to listen to all the webinars, what we run, live webinars every week, so that their knowledge can be fresh. And because when you listen to a subject second time, third time, there is so many ways it will immerse more and more deeper every time. And that is what we say, Ayurveda is a life journey. You read any book and you read second time and third time, it will give you totally different meaning. So that is something we have made available. And then we also made available that those who want to do even the intensive as well as the webinars, they can also join. So this way we are trying to support our graduate that they can come and learn. Those who feel or listening to this message and are keen, they can contact our AIS admin, and they can help you to give you all the information. Our program coordinator is there to help you, guide you. But what I would like to say, if you have gotten an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant qualification, you must start independent practice, and you are the backbone of Ayurveda. Ayurveda has so much hope on you to take Ayurveda further to all who are seeking help for their suffering. So come together, don't just be there feeling that I can never start my practice or I can't do or whatever I'm doing. Come together and be a part, active part for helping people with Ayurveda. So that's what for today. We'll catch up next time. Thank you.